Alright, Sally Sue. That's who. Alright, fuckers. Episode 2. Yeah, I decided to bust it out early, you know? I was thinking maybe once a week. Maybe, 4 times a month. Maybe, you know. However the crow flies. But listen, so, yeah, here's episode 2. Echoes and Escapades. I should have led with that. I'm still learning, you know? So, but today's episode, let's start off the conversation with love. You know? Falling in love, dude. So, I was talking to an old buddy of mine, and he said this. He was just like, yo, I met this girl, and she has a kid. And I was just like, oh, shit. I was like, run, bro. I don't know. What do you all think? Do you think that it's a red flag for a girl with a single mother with kids? You know, as a man, you know. Now, it could be a green flag. It could be everything you ever wanted. Could be the exact opposite. I'm not here to say either way, you know, because everyone's different. You know, everyone's got a different kind of flavor from east to west. So, but, you know, like a single dad with kids, I wonder, is that a green flag for the ladies? Or is that a red flag? I think 9 times out of 10, a single lady with kids is a red flag to a guy, but a single dad with kids is a green flag. The L is not silent there. Green flag for women, you know? I wonder why that is. Do you think that's true? I think that's true. That's what I heard. You know? So, I had a fucking... I think one cousin snuck out in the middle of the night, dude. Never mind. I don't even know. I don't know. Never mind. But no, I dated a girl with kids once. And that was a lot, dude. That was that was that was my first love too, you know? So it was just but she had kids, 2 different baby daddies, you know? And it was just but it fucked me up because it was all of my firsts, you know, for the most part. I was a little bit of a late bloomer, you know? I'm like the guy who falls in love with a sex worker, you know? Who thinks... I'm like the guy that, walks out of the strip club thinking the stripper likes me, you know? And I have done that, dude. You know? Because it's true. I don't know what it is. I wonder what it is about people like me. You know? Because, Why do you guys think that strippers like them? You know, they good actors, actresses, whatever. I don't know, man. I went to the doctor the other day, and they ran a slew of tests, you know, blood tests and stuff, and I had no idea what they were doing. And you know, I go back a couple weeks later, and a month, a couple weeks later, yeah. Maybe a week later, in fact. 7 days. And she was just like, oh yeah, you're negative for chlamydia and gonorrhea and the syph. And she's like, and you don't have any AIDS. You're HIV free, you know? And I was just like, wait, what? I was like, hold on a second. I was like, I didn't even know I was getting tested for such wonders, you know? But I'm glad I didn't know. Because imagine, that must be so fucked, dude. You know, to go in for an STD test or HIV test. You know, I don't even know if people still get AIDS back nowadays, but so it's just yo, how fucking weird is that? Has anyone ever done that? gone in for an STD test and then like you have to wait for the results. I couldn't imagine, dude. I couldn't imagine. You have like a week or two, 14 days maybe, of just like thinking of all your past relationships, right? And so, I luckily didn't have to go through that. And I've had some strange, like I had my firsts, with the girl, the mom, the mom has some kids or whatever, but then, I had some interesting, I'll call it, like I was in like South America, and doing all kinds of like cocaine. I just whispered, I cough, cocaine. But that was long. That was years ago. We're talking over 10 years ago. And so I guess I don't have to whisper it anymore. But but yeah. So and I finger popped a stripper's pussy, dude, and then stuck my finger in my mouth and sucked on it, dude. I don't know why I did that. It was the cocaine. I swear. Finger popping South American strippers' pussies? No. You don't do that, It's always look, don't touch. And I broke the cardinal rule that night. Luckily, I didn't end up paying for it, dude. Thank God. But that would have gone through my mind. I would have been thinking about South American, strippers. And just like, oh man, this one time, I met this woman on Craigslist, and she brought me over her house to have some intercourse, and she was lesbian, right? And she was like the bull dyke lesbian, not the hot one though, of the couple. They were married and had like a kid or something. But the kid had like some sort of mental obscurities. He was handicapped, and it was like wheelchair bound. And I remember, like, we met in the Applebee's, okay? So we met in an Applebee's parking lot off of Craigslist, and she's like, I get in her car, and the excitement, right? I'm young, I'm in my young 20s, early 20s, I guess you say. Young 20s, same thing. But I'm in my early 20s, and I'm excited, and my dick's hard, and like I'm talking like, like, oh, you ever get that dick that's so hard that it just makes you go, oh, and that's for men and women, like the men, you get that hard dick, and you're like, oh, and then the girls, they receive the hard dick, and they're like, ah, just a few octaves higher. But that's what I was dealing with that night in the Applebee's parking lot. So I started getting jerked off. But next to us in the car over, I'll never forget, it was a black Ford Mustang. There was a couple in there having sex, dude. Fucking, right? So I'm meeting Craigslist lesbian bull dyke mistress, in the Applebee's parking lot, getting a hand job next to a Ford Mustang couple having sex. So that was the initial meetup, and then a couple nights later, she's like, "Come to my house," So I go to her house, and she's like, "You want to meet my kid?" And I'm like, "No, I don't want to." But then she opens the door, and the kid's in there, just like in his setup, and just watching Mary Poppins. Spoonful of sugar, chimney sweep, all that, and he's. And the kid, is just yelling, just like, ah! And I'm just like, is everything okay? And then she just turns up the Mary Poppins, makes it louder and louder. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, yeah, everything's fine. And so we go upstairs to the bedroom, and, we're like, about to have sex. And she's like, you don't have to wear a condom, And I was just like, oh, okay. And so I stuck my dick inside of her. That might be too much information. I don't know. I don't know what's too much information or not. This is only my second podcast. But anyways, so we start having sex, but all I keep hearing is her is the downstairs popping his head off merrily, just screaming, ah, 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 and so, oh shit, I'm making my dogs bark, dude. That scream made my dogs bark. I don't know if you can hear that, but so yeah, it upset the dogs, it upset my dick, and I went flaccid. I went non-erect. And so it just shriveled up, dude. And I left her pussy. I put my pants on and I was out, dude. I left, and I'd never talked to her. I don't even know, you know what I mean? Fuck. So that was like a weird, I would have thought about that had I known that I was getting STD tested by this doctor, and I had no idea. And I mean, it's good to get tested, everyone should get tested. Because it's good for you and any potential partners that you might have. And I regret not getting tested sooner. Having, had that the unprotected strange, I let a lesbian coerce me into unprotected sex. She wasn't my peer because she was in her 40s and 50s, and I was in my young 20s. So that's actually not peer pressure, but that's like whatever the opposite of peer pressure is. That's what that was. That was like adult pressure. Like, I don't even know, dare I say. But anyways, I would have thought about that. Luckily, I didn't have to, though. And then, let's see, what else? I mean, I've had sex before, That's not just twice or with... Oh, man. Well... Oh, you know what? Alright, so here's the story. I was in Amsterdam, and I was spiffied up. I looked good, I was in my mid-20s. This is my mid-20s now. And I'm in Amsterdam. I was spiffied up, dude. I have my long sleeve white and black checkered long sleeve button-up shirt with a black vest with the white trim, sleeveless vest over the button-up shirt. You know what I'm saying? Then I had the white kind of tan khakis, long pants. I'm a 30 on the inseam. At the time, I was probably like a 36 waist. A 36-30, if you will. Now, I'm still a 30. I'll say that. But we're talking about maybe, I don't even know, 48, 50? Anyways, so I'm in Amsterdam. And I found €1 Jaeger night. Oh my gosh. So I found a guy from Indonesia and a Jewish and somebody else. I don't even know. Maybe like a French, They're kind of dodgy, but he was cool. He was high. And so we're all just smoking weed. It's an Indonesian, a French, and a Jew. A Jewish person, that is. And myself. The Jewish was from Indiana, so I guess I could just say he was from Indiana. An Indiana Jew, I don't know if they're the same as New York Jews. I used to live in New York, Anyways, so we get back, to the hostel. Everyone goes to sleep. I can't sleep. I'm fucked up. I'm sitting at the top of the stairs and I see this hot girl come in with this guy, right? And then she goes upstairs. And then, he's just waiting around, like half hour goes by. 45 minutes go by. And then eventually he just leaves, because it's like 3:30.